How many times have you started a Minecraft server or started playing on one, only for it to last about a month before everyone slowly stops playing? I've been playing Minecraft for a very long time, and this happens over and over again, from small private servers with just friends, all the way up to big SMPs for creators. And in my experience, this often comes down to one simple thing happening, and it's the catalyst for the end of the server. It's not a mod or a disagreement or anything crazy like that. It's literally in the game. It's opening the end. It just occurred to me recently how often a Minecraft server's death will happen shortly after the end fight happens. I want to talk a little bit about why that might be and what can be done about it. I don't want to put blame on anyone, but I've had this happen on my own servers that I've opened for my community. I've had it happen on creator SMPs I've been a part of. And though it has been quite a while since I played on a random survival server, it definitely used to happen there too. The server would be doing great, be really fun to play on, have an active community, and then the end would happen and there would be no one online anymore. I've also, for this video, been looking at resources and videos on how to keep people on a server, and the end is often talked about. So I'm pretty sure this isn't just a me problem. Obviously, I can imagine this happens on single player worlds a lot too. The 2-week Minecraft phase comes to mind, but I am a chronic multiplayer person, so I'm going to speak from what I know. But you can tell me in the comments if this happens to you in your single player worlds. When I thought more about the why, I ended up with 2 main reasons as to how I think the end affects the server. Before we go into those, just a quick reminder to subscribe. I make Minecraft talking videos, so if you like overthinking this game as much as I do, then this is the place to be. So bear with me here. The first reason that I think players stop playing Minecraft after the end is because it's the end. I know, crazy statement. So I've already discussed the structure and the end's position in the game in my other video about the end update. But essentially, the way the end feels is like a side branch on your progression that you go to and then turn around and come back and then continue your journey. But depending on your playstyle, a lot of players might see the end more here, like at the end of the progression track. Progression for some players can be quite linear. More and more we find games nowadays to be objective-based. Quests to complete, tasks to tick off, areas to explore, and they're all often on a nice list. So taking that mindset into Minecraft, the only thing that really constitutes an objective is killing the Ender Dragon. It forms the most linear part of the game. Get basic tools, go mining, get better tools, go to the nether, get blaze rods, get ender pearls, find the stronghold, go to the end, kill the dragon, roll credits, you're done, come home. But Minecraft is a sandbox. It's the sandbox. So to play it not like a sandbox starts to cause issues. If a player joins a server and just wants to fast track getting to kill that dragon, they're not going to form an investment or a tether to the world that they're in. A lot of these players find little need to even build a house or a base. And they return to the world and they find that there's little reason for them to be there. There aren't any inherent goals baked into the game left to pursue. You already did it. It was the dragon. So it goes from a very linear experience to having to find your own purpose to play all of a sudden. And if you haven't been doing that already, why start now? So those players get bored and leave. They're probably going to go join another new server so they can do that all over again. I'm not saying this to dunk on players that play like this. I am also definitely guilty of losing motivation once the dragon is dead on a world. I think it stems from having a mentality that works well in other games, but you still want to play Minecraft. I'm not going to have a go at you for that. Playing the game like this tends to go hand in hand with going too fast for the game's progression. Like I said, players don't give themselves a chance to invest in the world and then have no goals left to move towards. And in multiplayer, having players that move this fast also impacts the players that are taking their time. Those who are doing the traditional work of building their base and working on projects can get disheartened when they see one of the fast-moving players kill the dragon in the game chat. Since you can only do it once per server, players that are earlier on in the progression might lose drive to prep for that fight, or they might feel like they've lost out. Whether the speed that people can complete the game in speaks to a more deep-rooted problem in Minecraft's progression is up for debate. There's a lot of talk about how it's too easy and quick to get to the dragon fight and it doesn't require you to have played enough of the game. I'd argue that having too many prerequisites or enforced barriers would take away from Minecraft's status as the true sandbox. But let me know what your thoughts are on that. Maybe I'll make another video about it. And for those players who do like to move fast, don't misread my tone here, it's just a suggestion. I found that games like Terraria or Core Keeper are a really good mix of the true sandbox nature while having a lot of RPG level quests and linear progression to work through. So my second reason touches on my hottest take about Minecraft. There is a whole video in me on this topic, but I will keep it brief. But I'm certain that a large part of why players stop playing after they get to the end is because of this thing, the elytra, and by extension, shulker boxes and also enderman farms, the post-endgame gear. These open Minecraft in new ways so drastically that it shifts the core gameplay of the game. It completely transforms it for better or worse. The elytra, with a little bit of effort, unlocks near infinite flight. And for one of those progression-focused players that already hasn't invested in the world, it's over. Any transport links like minecart rails, mounts, roads, and paths all instantly become obsolete. You can't fly with a pet, so you don't have a pet. You whiz over structures unless they're worth looting, at which point you dive down and immediately fly back up. You can travel off to far caves, mine them, and shuttle the items back, with your shulker boxes, of course. Most danger becomes trivial with an instant escape route. You don't need to build outposts or storage, and you can see everything from a bird's eye view. I know the elytra is really fun. It's awesome, but I can't sit here and say that it doesn't make a lot of players stop interacting with and investing in the world they're in. And on multiplayer, there's a whole nother layer of how these items change the game. With elytra, players don't have any need to build next to each other or connect those builds together. Both of these are often cited as key methods for keeping players on a server. If some players have an elytra and others don't, those people that are grounded just watch their friends fly away from conversation, which especially stings if you're using one of the voice chat mods. Little side quests you might go on with friends to go find a new biome or go gather some rare resource become trivial because you can just zip all the way there and zip all the way back. Players start to feel disconnected and literally left behind. And to go even further, some players having the elytra and some don't have the elytra players give elytras to the players that don't have them. Except this removes incentives for newer players. Have you ever logged onto a server with your friends and they've just given you a bunch of full diamond? When those endgame items are given to you, you have no reason to play. When the end introduces items that are this drastically transformative to how the game is played, and then when some players have them and some don't, it adds this massive divide between the two groups. Those that have an elytra find the game too easy, the novelty wears off, and they don't have a reason to play. Those who don't feel like they're missing out on the best stuff, or that the game's unnecessarily harder for them, and they don't play. Both sides of it lead to players not logging in, and then there's no one left. So those are the main two reasons that I could think of behind why the end ends servers. So with that, how do we stop it from happening? Firstly, I don't know. This is a long-running problem, and I'm just throwing my ideas out there. These are some methods that I have seen used and used before myself. Disabling the end altogether is a pretty valid strategy, provided all the players know before joining the server and starting to play that it won't be something that they'll get access to. For an example, you might know this was used on Ish's 1,000-player civilization project. While it was a limited time event, it was still an SMP, and players were very, very invested in the world because it was the only world they had. It's also more likely to keep a sense of realism if that's something that you want out of Minecraft, and is more likely to draw in players that want to put roots down in the world. Another method I've seen used a lot and have used is to disable the end at the start of a server and then enable it at a later date. This forces players to take their time a little bit more, so they're more likely to start investing and building in the world, and it gives more of the slower paced players a chance to be ready for the end fight when the server opens. It also makes the end fight into an event, which a lot of players turn up to, so that can be quite fun. I have found though that doing this kind of just postpones the same effects by however long you wait before you open the end. I found that a lot of the players that do fast track the progression do that and then log off until the end opens, only to log on, do the end, and then log off again forever. But it can help secure the longevity of a server for longer. But there is one method that I've seen work the most reliably time and time again, and it also means you get to use the end, which is nice. I think if we can avoid cutting off part of the game's content, that would be ideal. And it's just controlling who is playing on a server. This obviously can't work for all servers. I don't think it's fair that if you have a group of friends that you should not let that one guy who likes to speedrun onto the server at all because you like to build. But having some alignment of what players are expecting from the server does fix a lot of the progression problems. To prove it, I'm going to talk about two very different SMPs that you might have heard of: hermitcraft and lifesteal SMP. They're not often mentioned in the same sentence, but here they both apply. Now, before I talk about them, I'm aware both of these servers are very content focused, so there is a separate meta variable that keeps the players on the server, and it's making content and getting views. But I'm also aware that a lot of creator SMPs get views and still fall apart after the end. So I think there's more to it than just that. In hermitcraft, the goal is to build. They have long seasons, which allows the players to build mega bases and make mini games and create events for the other members. And because of their selective cast, all the players play Minecraft like this. Most recent season of hermitcraft, season 10, started on January 29th, 2024. A little over a week later, Cubfan posted his third episode of his Hermitcraft 10 series, in which he defeated the Ender Dragon on his own by one-cycling it, very impressive, and promptly went to the nearest End City to gather Elytra and Shulkers. Shortly after, those items made their way into the player economy. So why didn't this make everyone lose interest? When all of the Hermit's goals are aligned to make the biggest and best builds that they can, Shulker boxes and Elytras become almost essential to speed up that process. Shulker boxes are required to store massive amounts of resources and manage those builds. Elytras are needed to be able to fly up to the high heights of whatever they're building and fly back down without danger. While the end fight could make a series finale for one server, it formed part of Cubfan's third episode, and he had 82 episodes in that season. It was barely a thing, and nobody minded him defeating the dragon on his own because it enabled all of them to further and faster complete their own goals. Complete opposite end of the spectrum, like the other end of the solar system, is lifesteal SMP. In lifesteal, the goal is combat and spectacle. The end is opened about a week or two after the start of a season, and this does generally lead to an end fight event with all the members. Though in the latest season, one team destroyed all of the end portals, so only they could get into the end. That server is something else, honestly. And while the end rewards are important to the server and its players, and they do get it out of the way really early in the season, they don't drop off. They don't stop playing after they've done it. Why? Like I said, the goals of lifesteal are combat and spectacle, and all the players are aligned on it. Its gimmick is that killing someone on it takes a heart from them and adds it to your max health. So winning in PvP with the other members, and with the content element, doing it in the coolest way possible, is what everyone on lifesteal is trying to do. So when everyone gets wings, that steps up the intensity. So while these two servers couldn't be any more different, the players on each are aligned with the same goals on how they want to play on the server. Therefore, the end, despite having definite value in each setting, doesn't affect the playtime. It's not the end goal. And in fact, it unlocks their actual goals and expands their horizons massively. The point I'm trying to make is while there's no right or wrong way to play Minecraft, it's the mismatch in playstyles that can cause discouragement, unfairness, and ultimately players stopping playing. The nature of the end just means it's a catalyst for those mismatched playstyles to move further away from each other. So one of the best ways to keep Minecraft going is to play on a server that matches how you play. And if you're running a server, try and find members that all want the same things. The Minecraft community as a whole has a love-hate relationship with the end in its current state. I guess the question is whether the phenomenon of servers dying after the end is conquered is a game problem or a player problem. And I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. And has this happened on a server you really liked? What kind of player are you, and how do you interact with the end, especially in a multiplayer setting? Are there other ways of solving this problem that I haven't thought about? Let me know. As always, subscribe, like the video, and follow me on Twitch if you want to see more of me. That's all. Goodbye.